We are back on the Gurus on Reality as promised. After a good sports pod yesterday previewing the Eastern Conference, we are talking Survivor 49. And Mike, what an episode this was. It was memorable, but at the same time, a lot of problems with the season came to a head. What did you think right off the bat?
This episode wasn't much here. I mean, yeah, the Jake medevac obviously is the story of the episode. That took up like the majority of the first hour of the episode, the first 45 minutes of the episode. When I was watching it, I was like, why are we as a production team, why are we letting a snake get close to one of the contestants? I know they always show like these wild animals on the I mean, look, they're living in the jungle, no doubt about it, but usually there's like precautions of like, hey, this is where the camp is. These animals, we're going to try and make sure they don't get close to where the contestants are. And it just felt like, I mean, that's never happened before. Obviously, no one's gotten bitten by a venomous sea snake just casually sitting on the edge of the sand at the morning. It just very, very strange. My guy Jake kind of got screwed. I mean, he's just trying to enjoy his morning, just kind of meditating there, and he gets bitten by a sea snake. Dry bite, but still has to get pulled from the game. And then just like that, Blue's down to 3 people. So I mean, just another episode that goes by where Blue loses 2 more members. So in 3 episodes they've lost 4 members. No one else has even had to go to tribal yet. So yeah, the episode as a whole just wasn't much there because we still have only seen really Blue through 3 episodes.
Yeah, and we joked about that a few times over text. We're like, this show just feels like it's the Blue Tribe the entire time. It's kind of ridiculous at points. But we'll just start with where you started, the Jake medevacs. And it was a bit scary for a little bit, obviously, considering they were showing all of it. I didn't think it was that severe because I don't think they would have showed it if he was actually severely hurt. That's where I was coming from immediately.
Yeah.
And I had the same opinion as you. There are so many people around the island that you can't see on camera. Production and camera crew and locals, as Jeff talked about, that kind of help everyone get accustomed to the island and the foliage and the animals and everything that happens around Fiji that you need. It was strange as well. My take on the whole situation was it was just so odd to me how they were going behind the scenes of this moment and how they were treating it. I didn't necessarily like the treatment of it. I thought it was nice to see, okay, you get to see stuff like the pamphlet of all the dangerous animals. I thought that was a cool insight. Yeah, the little book that they had. And they were talking about how the snake was in there and it was perceived as venomous. And they show him being transported on boat into base camp. And all of that I had no problem with. What I had a problem with more than anything was Jeff Probst himself. I thought the way he handled the situation was so dystopian. It felt like it was some Days of Our Lives terrible acting bit that he was trying to portray of a sticky situation. In this case, what was perceived as a life or death situation for at least like 10 or so minutes. Because they didn't really know how much of the venom, if any, got into Jake and what the situation was before them. None of them really had any experience with anything like this. So there was a lot of question marks, but Jeff comes in and he's basically interviewing him on the spot, which I thought was so bizarre. I thought if they pieced together an interview maybe afterwards showing him leaving, that's okay with me. Or at least with him stable. He still has the oxygen mask on. He's still leaned back after all of this. I just thought it was so distasteful. And again, I like them showing bits and pieces of it. But Jeff just kind of being like, hey, man, you came here. It's over now. What do you expect is going to happen? He starts tearing up. Obviously, that's so sad. I just thought the lack of emotion from Jeff was so bizarre. And it felt like, to me, he was trying to push this narrative that Survivor takes care of their players more so than feeling bad for Jake, which I thought was incredibly bizarre.
Yeah, the moment wasn't about Jake in that scenario. It was almost like Jeff was coming at it from a Survivor lens of like, and yeah, that's fine. You can show base camp, show the book, whatever. It almost felt like they was like, hey guys, we're taking all the precautions necessary. This is what we do here at CBS, here at Survivor. It was almost like a look at us kind of a moment. It felt like that way, which is kind of distasteful because this is considering it was life or death for about 15 minutes there. It was like, okay, is this guy gonna be? Is it venomous? Is he gonna be paralyzed? Like there was some people like the doctor said, is he breathing? But yeah, the way that Jeff handled it specifically, it felt like it was like, here's what we do at Survivor here. I mean, if this happens, here's all the precautions we take. It was very like saving face kind of thing in case this was really, really bad, which thankfully it wasn't. And then I thought even to go more so on Jeff, because I wrote on my notes, I'm over Jeff.
Over him.
At the challenge, he took it to another level. He was like interviewing the other teams of like, so how much
Oh my
empathy
God, yes.
do you want to
hit
let
on this,
them win?
please.
It's like, how much empathy do you feel towards Blue? They don't have their player anymore. This big physical guy, he's out of the game and he has a kid and he's gonna go home to his family. Do you want to just like let them have the win? I was like, what is Jeff doing? It's like Jeff's like interviewing, like before the challenge even starts, Jeff's like making it about like, stop. You're the host, but you're not supposed to be in the game. Let these people dictate the game. This is their show, basically. I mean, they're the players here. It felt like it was just too much Jeff this episode. Like I've seen enough of Jeff. I need him at Tribals and I need him to just tell us what the challenge is, but I don't need to see Jeff all this. It was too much Jeff in the episode is what I had written down. Too much soap opera. It was almost like Jeff was playing. He's like an actor and he was like playing.
That's what it felt like. Yes.
Yeah. He was
and
like
then Mike, they get to the challenge. It's a water cop on top of that. And he basically says like, oh, you guys are fine. How can you make that assumption after what just happened a few hours ago? That's an insane thing to say. And again, the show is called Survivor. There is an element of danger, especially the early seasons. You saw things like camps being flooded all the time. And they would always show close-ups of those like big, massive bugs in the forest, those terrifying bugs throughout whatever location they were at. And there is an air of danger that is perceived, and that is fine, as it should be. The show is called Survivor. It's not Big Brother, it's Survivor.
Right.
But at the same time, at least have some wherewithal of the moment. And furthermore, he's asking basically like Yellow Tribe, like, hey, like, what do you think about this? They don't know the guy.
They don't even know him.
They can have empathy for this guy who went on the show and was supposed to miss his child being born, and that's a separate topic.
Of course.
But they can have empathy for that guy whose dream was to be on Survivor, and it was cut short for no actions of his own. He was just sitting there. It's not like he was walking in the jungle barefoot asking for danger. Right. He was literally just sitting on the beach. He couldn't have been more calm in that situation. And they're asking people like Jason, who had a great episode again, but regardless, like, Jason, how do you feel? And the guy's tearing up, which is, again, fine. But at the same time, the melodramatic of this show is so ridiculous. And you're allowed to show emotion. And I just want to reiterate that so many times. You're allowed to feel a certain way, and you can empathize with someone in that moment. Like, oh, I can only imagine if that was me, regardless. I do understand that. But when every episode is that over and over and over again, you get to the point where, is this a game or is this just a kumbaya summer camp with these super nerd fans that have no real understanding of what even emotion is?
Right.
Because being overly emotional does not make you a good person, despite what some of these people might think. That's not actually how life works. You can react to things accordingly. And again, I'm not telling anyone that there's a way to react to this specific situation, knowing the guy or not. But again, it's just the fact that Jeff is shoehorning in these overly melodramatic moments time and time out. And it gets to a point where it's like, okay, when are we going to get to anything that makes this game intriguing for people like us? You can have the good moments, you can have the medevac and then the fallout from that. That's fine. Obviously, you can't plan for that to happen. But after that, you need to have some level of gameplay. Because like you said, the moment where Jeff basically insinuates that he kind of insinuated no one should throw it in a weird way. He kind of said it in that manner, which obviously, but again, why would you even say that? Why would you even bring that up? Why are you trying to fan the flames of this situation? It just felt so bizarre to me. It was so not only distasteful, but just off color for a show of this nature.
The second he went to Jason, I went and said, why are we talking to Jason right now? He's never spoke a word to Jake. Why are we talking to Jason right now? Why are we talking to Yellow at all? He's like, Jason, how do you compartmentalize all this? Why are we asking Jason that question? First of all, he doesn't know anyone on Blue. He didn't go on the journey. At least Matt went on the journey. Like, no one knows what's going on with Blue other than they're losing every challenge and they haven't eaten any food. So why are we even like asking that question, being like, do you feel a level of empathy towards Blue? They haven't eaten in 5 days. They just lost one of their tribe members. They might go to tribal again and have to vote out another person. Why are we even going down that road? Like, it's such a, I think Jeff has lost there's a gameplay aspect of the show that's going on right now, and he makes it all about social dynamics and all about emotion. And there's 3 levels to this game, and he's only focusing on one of them. It's like, at times, like, by the way, the other tribes didn't know his wife was in labor at that moment. He only told the people on his tribe. So it's not like, the red people knew that in Uli. Like, they were all shocked when Jeff said that. So Jeff's kind of just like, it's like a tell-all here for Jeff. He's kind of just like, yeah, so this obviously means a lot for him. And it was a whole big dramatic soap opera moment, which of course you're feeling for Jake in this moment, but the way that Jeff is like portraying it to the people that are still in the game, it's like they have to feel some level of empathy towards Blue. Whereas if you're the other teams, it's like, hey, we just got to keep on going forward. Like definitely a tragic experience for Blue. It's been a tragic 6 days for Blue. But you can't throw challenges. And the way that Jeff was insinuating, it was almost like, yeah, you have to like let Blue win this one. They've gone through enough. It's like they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. So very
hey Jeff, maybe stop with the 3 tribe model that every like actual diehard of this fan has been complaining about for
that's what
people feels like forever now. And maybe we won't get the situation. This is now 2 seasons in a row where we've seen one tribe in the first few episodes just get absolutely decimated because of their own incompetence. And I'm not lumping Jake in that, by the way. I'm not.
Right.
But even if Jake was there, they are not winning that comp. I can assertively make that claim now. And I bet you Jeremiah also probably goes home. I can make both of those assertions. Even if Jake was there, the same problems would have aroused. It was just further an issue because Jake was out. Obviously, that's an issue.
By the way, it's year 2 in a row of this disaster tribe, but I think since the new era started, we're on like year 4 or 5 of a tribe being decimated before the merge. So yeah, we have back-to-back years of one tribe being absolutely terrible, but we've seen, go back to season 46 when Kenzie won over Charlie. That tribe lost 3 straight. They lost Banu. They lost like 3 straight tribals, I believe it was. The Jelinski kid, I mean, they had lost like 3 in a row as well. So we have these tribes that just get decimated early. And this is like the 4th or 5th time it's happened in the new era. So since season 41, when they did this 3 tribe nonsense to start the game out with 6 each, there's been, I believe, 4 or 5 times now where tribes gotten decimated. And then to get to the challenge real quick, the challenge was whatever. The second I saw there was a puzzle, I knew who was losing the challenge. The second I saw the puzzle,
Mike, can we talk about that? Because I remember it was 2 seasons ago now, and we were shooting a lot of text back and forth about how many challenges incorporated balls and how annoying that was, that there were so many challenges where you had to balance a ball of some sort, and they did it in multiple different ways. This season, I'm kind of over the same kind of puzzle being the end of the challenge, because obviously what's going to happen? A team that struggles with puzzles is going to continuously lose. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy by the producers from instilling the same kind of puzzles. You can have a puzzle last. Like, I remember the first episode, there was that maze. I'm okay with that. But at least change it up. They used to have those kind of shuffle ones where you had to kind of shuffle it around. They could do one where, I don't know, it's vertical. It's all vertical, and you have to make some numbers and put in a code. There are so many different ways to do it. If you're obsessed with puzzles, at least make them different types of puzzles. The fact that they're just doing these same like block puzzles over and over again, the same people are going to win because you're doing the same challenge over and over again. And particularly me, who's going back and watching early versions of the shows, the challenges are so unique episode to episode. And they always do the gimmick sometimes where in the middle or an end of a season, they would incorporate like an element from each challenge and make kind of some encompassing all challenge to kind of showcase the season as a whole. And I do like that. But when you're just doing the same kind of challenge over and over again, particularly pre-merge, what do you expect to happen? The same people are going to look great. The same people are going to look bad. I just need more, A, diversity in the challenges, and B, what I really need more than anything is just a different type of challenge altogether. It's all the same thing. It's all, you're going to climb up over something, you're going to go under something, you might unlock a key, you're going to unlock puzzle pieces with that key, you're going to put the piece together, and then you're done.
And it comes out of
every challenge.
Every time it comes out of the puzzle,
Can we at least do something where like you're throwing something, you're tossing something? I loved the sand challenges where they were basically doing like King of the Boards or an Oklahoma drill in the sand. Those are fun. There are so many different types of things that you can do, but they're kind of shoehorning again in this same direction over and over again. It just feels like this show is getting so repetitive, not only from the emotional moments, but the challenges.
Yeah, by the way, if they want to do these challenges over and over again, you can just do 2 tribes, and then you probably have a better chance of one person on each tribe being good at puzzles. Because right now, Blue has nobody on their tribe that's good at puzzles. Red, I believe, has 1, and Yellow has like 3 people who are awesome at puzzles, especially Jason, obviously. But if you just do 2 tribes, and you want to do these ridiculous challenges that always end in a puzzle, especially a visual puzzle at that, where you can kind of just see it, and Jason just saw it immediately. He's like, yeah, that piece goes there, that piece goes there. And Red, the same thing. So if you want to do these puzzles, just put us with 2 tribes. That way you can at least balance it out a little bit so that it's more likely that if you do 2 tribes, one person at least on each tribe is going to know what they're doing when it comes to a puzzle. So you're not going to get these lopsided results, and each one of these challenges has been lopsided. Blue has not been close to finishing any of these puzzles right now. I mean, they're getting lapped by red and yellow essentially.
And Mike, we love Rachel, who won a few seasons ago, but it got to a point where anytime there was a puzzle, you knew she was winning the challenge. And again, puzzles should be a part of Survivor. That should be an element. But there's such an over-focus nowadays. It's ridiculous. And especially because the type of puzzles, as we mentioned, are so repetitive. Yeah. And when you just marry those things, especially with 3 tribes, look, Jeremiah and Sophie are bad at puzzles. That's it. It's just, that's what it is.
Correct.
And if you're going to keep putting them in puzzle situations, they're going to keep losing. But if you did like I remember last year there was a ring toss, or you had to toss a ball in essentially a net, like you'd play in a pool somewhere.
Yeah.
Why not do something like that? You're in the water, do something like that. It's not a puzzle. It's physical, and at least it's different. And if they lose that, fine. They deserve to lose it because they've lost in various different types of challenges at that point. But I do feel for Blue because it's like, okay, they clearly have a weakness, and it's just being beaten over the head with that weakness over and over again.
Yeah, if Blue had lost an endurance competition, a balance competition, and a puzzle, and a physical competition where they're like throwing balls into a hoop, then it's like, okay, Blue just sucks at everything. But right now, every single one of these, at least the immunity challenges, are coming down to a puzzle at the end of it, and they obviously are terrible at that. But I don't want to spend too much time on the challenge because overall it was just kind of a bland challenge. We knew it was
super boring challenge, repetitive, as I mentioned earlier.
I do want to get into
the obvious result happened. Yeah,
exactly. I do want to get into the actual gameplay though, because I mean there was some stuff hopping on yellow. We didn't get much of yellow, but from what we did get from yellow early on, I kind of liked it. My girl MC is playing. I don't know if anyone else in the tribe is playing, but
can we touch on that, Mike? Because she's playing, but I think she's overplaying for. I think it's almost a point where it's been so stable in yellow that she is foreseeing an upcoming fracture of some sort, because that's just what happens, right? But they keep winning, so she's almost pre-planning, and it's not really working because nothing's happening right now. Because I hated this move by her. She basically talked about how she didn't want to do the Kumbaya group thing for the danger advantage. She didn't want to have everyone go look for it. She made that abundantly clear. And then what did she do right afterwards? She basically threw out the notion that like, oh, we can look in pairs, or we can look in trios. She asked the question instead of just kind of forcing her way into doing it. I didn't really like that. And again, if she wanted to be sneaky about it, that's one thing. If she wanted to be upfront about it, that's another.
You can't be sneaky about it. It's a beware advantage. So someone has to know by virtue, or you're losing your vote.
For sure. But for me, it was just she was trying to ride the middle too much in that moment, and I didn't really like that. And it obviously worked out. But I'm just saying, I didn't like how she was going about that situation until it ended up going in her favor, which is just luck at that point.
Okay, see, I liked the way she went about it. I don't like the way that Red went about it, where everyone now knows that Rizzo has an...
save that point.
And I don't like the way that Alex went about it, where Alex told Jake, and then Alex told Sophie, and then Alex told Jeremiah. He's like, okay, I guess we got to tell Jeremiah now. So everyone on blue knows about Alex's idol. So I like that only one person on yellow knows about MC's idol, and it's the person that she apparently trusts the most, in Steven. I mean, we saw last week, your guy Matt tried to loop MC into a 4, and Matt's real downfall here was he blatantly just told MC, yeah, you're number 4. That obviously was a mistake by him.
I didn't like that move at all. But if I'm MC, I'm at least thinking about, okay.
I'm nodding my head, yeah. But if I'm MC, I'm like, oh, so they have a good 3 going. He just told me they have a tight 3, and they want me as their 4th person just as an extra vote.
Right.
But she blatantly said, I don't trust Matt. So if you're MC, of course you're going to go tell Sophie this, and of course you're going to go tell. Well, Steven was in the group, but she's more locked in with Steven, you can tell, than she is with the Sari lookalike. I forget, it's Christina.
Yes.
Yeah, she's obviously more locked in with those guys than she is with Jason and Matt and Christina. So obviously she goes to Steven for the beware advantage. And by the way, another thing I absolutely hate about this with the beware advantage is that every single person in the tribe apparently has to know you have a beware advantage. Like, I'm so tired of them.
So dumb.
They have to like carry around the fact that, okay, by the way, guys, I lost my vote here. I have to find this idol before the next immunity challenge, or we're gonna, I'm gonna lose my vote. So it's like, why can't we just go back to hiding idols in the jungle and then having people look for them, and if they find them, they get the idol? Why do we have to do this thing where you have to tell somebody that you trust, and it's like a way of trust? It's like, hey, I'll show you this, that I have the beware advantage. If you can help me find it, we can use it to our advantage. It's like, why do we have to do this? And then, by the way, it always spreads like wildfire. Everyone in the tribe ends up knowing you have it. Right now,
that's my issue with the situation. She told Steven, who I understand she trusts, but if everyone on this tribe, we both were like, with Steven, it's clearly has loose lips. It's clear he was overplaying from day one. He was just a little bit too much out of the gate. And we both made the point during our draft that that's natural. He's a fan of the show. There are going to be people that are overly excited. But if you're going to make that guy your number one, I'm just a little bit concerned about where that's going to lead in the next few episodes. That's all. That's why I didn't like that play from her. It ended up working in her favor perfectly, but at the same time, it almost didn't if Jason just wasn't a little bit incompetent there and go right by the idol. So again, it worked out, but not nearly in the way that she thought it would.
No, but I think this is also just out of her control. I think this is just another production issue. Whereas if it's just an idol,
that's a fair point. That's a good point.
If this is just an idol, she's not telling anybody. But because it's a beware advantage, it's ridiculous how you almost need the help of somebody else to dig up this idol underneath tree mail and make sure that no one else is watching. You almost need a second person there to actually help.
Yeah, you need like a lookout or an accomplice of some sort.
Every single season, with Joe and Eva last year, Eva had to tell Joe because there's no way Eva would have got it herself. Kyle, Camilla, same thing. You need a smart, Camilla was so smart, she solved the code immediately. So you almost need a second person to help you get that idol, which I hate in Survivor.
Do you know what it's leading up to? And I'm almost positive, and I wonder if they'll stop it after this. I bet you what they want is one of these situations. I'm just going to use the current one for an example, MC and Steven. I bet you what's going to happen eventually is Steven's going to take it for himself. The other person that is told is going to take it for themselves. That's the additional layer of beware. Yeah. And that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a big moment. The person maybe can't find it. They panic, whatever. They get voted out.
To your point, episode 1 or episode 2, when Sophie learns about it, she's thinking, why can't I just take this myself? I know where it is. I can see it.
Exactly.
So they're hinting at they want this to be a beware of like, hey, someone else, if you tell someone else, they can just take it. Which, by the way,
I don't know if it's going to be this season or if it's going to be down the road, but I wonder if that's what production is looking for. Try to get a moment like that, a kind of sabotage moment of epic proportions, and then maybe they'll stop it after that. But my problem with it all is if that happens 1 out of every 40 times, is it even worth it? To me, no. It's just really not.
Just put the idol back in camp. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
If they find it, it's theirs. It's their idol. They don't have to tell anyone about it. That means the idol is more powerful when no one else knows about it. This beware advantage is not even powerful because everyone ends up knowing about it sooner rather than later. So it ends up actually backfiring. And I know that what they want probably to happen is exactly what you just said, but that's not even really worth the hassle that all this is. On 3 different tribes, we don't need to see it. It's too much.
No, and I want to get to Uli that you teased a few minutes ago.
Yep.
This was infuriating. This was so infuriating. This was insulting to my intelligence. This was awful. And look, Red had the same logic as Yellow. They perceive this from now on as Red versus Yellow. The Red folks will take on the Yellow folks. Mike, we've watched Survivor, long enough, and Big Brother. We've watched reality television long enough to know it never really works that way. There are times where you think it almost will, and then at the last second, someone flips sides. It's just how it goes. It's not logical because someone will see that they're on the bottom. There will be a Sage. There will be maybe a Rizzo, a Nate. Someone will just want to make a move for the sake of making a move, whether it's that they perceive they're on the bottom or they just want to have an iconic Survivor moment, whatever it may be, and then defect, and then it'll keep going back and forth and whatever. Also, by the way, there's still 2 blue people around. They matter. They're going to be potentially swing votes immediately.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that happens. And then as soon as they start swinging around as potential swing votes, then you have the micro alliances start. And then all of a sudden, these big factions that you have right now are meaningless. So I just wanted to get that out of the way before we talked about Red in particular here.
Yeah, by the way, just to echo your point here, the tribal lines thing, ever since Survivor Season 27, I believe it was, Blood versus Water, the first one, tribal lines have not been a thing. Like, no one goes into the merge saying, here's our 6 against your 6, we're going to pick you off. The last time that's really happened was like Redemption Island with Boston.
No, because Mike, it's like high school. You don't get to choose your friends. Like, they're just the people in your town.
There's always
like,
a bottom.
You know what I mean? It's just the people in your town. And as soon as you're able to choose your friends in college, that's when things get interesting. It's the same kind of thing with shows like this. You don't get to choose who's on your tribe, but as soon as you see Jason over there, you're like, oh, Jason seems awesome. I would much rather work with Jason than Savannah, for example.
By the way, the reason why this has not been a tribal alliance thing anymore, that season 27, Blood versus Water, they did loved ones on one tribe, the other loved ones on the other tribe. So once they got to the merge and they were able to connect with their loved ones, they were like, screw this. I'm not staying with my old tribe that I was with.
Yeah, why would you?
I got a loved one. So then every season after that, you started to see tribal lines blur a little bit. And every time in the merge, really since then, we have not gotten a core 5-6 people that just took it to the end. That has not happened in the last 15 years of Survivor, 15 seasons of Survivor. Not 15 years, 15 seasons of Survivor. So yeah, especially ever since the new era, there's never just a core 5-6 that stick together right all the way to the end. Everyone eventually knows they're on the bottom. So yeah, these like open conversations of, hey, us 6 to the end, we're going to be 6 strong. No, you're not. You're already scheming it. If you go to tribal, you're going to vote somebody off first. You're not 6 strong. It never is like that. There's already 2 people on the outs. By the way, I wrote down Sage remains a really bad player and very weird. Another weird episode for her where she's like telling Shannon that Rizzo and Savannah are whispering too long. And then that, of course, they get back to Savannah. And Savannah's like, by the way, Sage, I can get you out at any point right now. I have 4 people that are in my pocket right now. So I don't know if Sage is a very good player. She won undrafted for a reason, so I'm not going to dunk on Sage here. But
yeah, but Mike, they're all working together over an Uli, clearly. And because we'll circle back to this here. Apparently, there's going to be this impending Uli versus Hina color war coming up for the next few episodes. And everyone in red thinks that, okay, we need this for each other. And I think Savannah and at least Nate are like, what are we doing right now? Like, what is going on? You could see Nate's face, like, what? And Jawan's all for it. Rizzo's all for it. Shannon's all for it because she's all for, kumbaya stuff. And then Sage has to be all for it because she has no other prospects otherwise. So she has to kind of latch onto this right now. And then Rizzo gets it. And the first thing he does is hold it up like it's a newborn baby and says, this is for everyone here. It's for all of us. And in my head, I'm like, this is one of the dumbest moves I've ever seen. And we drafted Rizzo fairly high in our draft a few weeks ago, with the logic being, well, he's back on the show for 50, so clearly he's going to be an entertainer, at least, if nothing else. He's called the Riz God. Like, this guy has to be awesome. And there are plenty of episodes left, so I don't want to dump on it too much. But so far, all I've seen is a kid less mature than us, a little bit older, but less mature socially, that is trying to just please everyone around him and be a survivor legend in his own mind without actually doing anything that makes you such. It's just so preposterous how he's been playing. And look, maybe the fangs come out when they need to. I think, being the kumbaya guy, like love everyone, that works when there's 6 people on your tribe. Like, there's worse things. People clearly enjoy his company. Clearly Savannah likes him. It's clear Nate, at least in like this fatherly figure way, enjoys his company, as does Jawan. He seems to be a really charismatic guy that people gravitate towards. But from a gameplay standpoint, I just don't understand anything that he's doing right now. And again, maybe it comes to fruition because he does have that gravitational pull from a social standpoint, right? And so perhaps that's where this is leaning to. But right now, yikes, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, if anyone else found that idol and did that, I think they would be in serious trouble. I think because he has the charisma and the everyone likes him kind of energy, I think he'll be fine, and it won't actually end up mattering because everyone likes him. I think if it was like a Jawan who's maybe a little bit more sneaky and he did it in front of everybody, I think they'd be like, okay, he has no choice. He can't be sneaky about it. I don't think Rizzo's even capable of being sneaky. Like, he was out in front of everybody. If like he found it by himself and then had said, hey guys, come over here. Like, you can see there's people that were like 10, 15 yards away from him. They were in the general vicinity. I mean, they were all looking together. That's on red for saying, hey, let's look as a group. So because they're looking as a group, he's kind of finding it in the general vicinities of everybody else. And he kind of just like, hey, here it is right here. I got it. And because he does that, I'm like, he's capable of being that sneaky, sly kind of guy in front of everybody yet. So it was a bad move, but I don't think it really will end up costing him that much because I think right now red needs that extra that extra protection of safety, because if it is a red versus yellow thing, at least with red, everyone knows who has it. With yellow, MC and Steven know, but no one else really has any idea. They're all kind of like still searching for it. So there's a little bit more deception in yellow, a little bit. Although I don't think anyone on red really likes each other. Like, I don't know how red's gonna make this work. I think like there's already
I think there's a clique of Rizzo, Savannah, and then I feel like that third spot's up for grabs between Shannon and Nate in particular. And I think Jawan maybe is getting on their skin a little bit too much for him to be in the running for that. And then thanks for coming, Sage.
They don't really trust Jawan. They don't.
No, for whatever reason. Again, maybe it's just a vibe thing. I don't know. I think they really respect
he gave them
Nate.
the tribe advantage. He gave them the tribe advantage. So he showed it's like, hey guys, I'm for the tribe. But
yeah, and I think that helped us standing. That's why I still even mention him here. But I think it's that 3 of Nate, Rizzo, Savannah that is gonna emerge, and then we'll see. Like if something happens, maybe they'll swap that third person out. Could be
Yeah.
Juwan, could be Shannon, depending on what happens here in the coming episodes. But I think that core of Rizzo and Savannah is really dangerous.
Well, Shannon really, she appears very locked in with Savannah. I mean, she ran to Savannah when Sage.
Yes.
She was like, "Hey, here's what Sage was talking about you and Rizzo." She was like, so she immediately goes and tells that Savannah, which really what she didn't have to do that.
I was a little surprised about that, weren't you? I thought that would be a good move to maybe make when you have to make it.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of too much trying to get goodwill when she already had it. It was
Really
just
had
kind of
goodwill.
layering her goodwill.
Yeah.
When I think if something happened and maybe you want to just get Sage out, easy vote, then you make that kind of move. You're like,
Honestly, you
hey,
know what?
she just said that, you know?
This felt like one of those like they have it's a filler episode. They had to spend time on Jake, so there's like honestly I don't think that conversation really would even make an episode. I think it's just because this episode didn't have much. They're like here's a Shannon conversation that ended up not really even mattering. It's just like planting seeds into Savannah's head. Like,
Right.
That conversation probably happens with over time over camp. I don't even know why that made the episode. I think maybe
I hope it's foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing too. If not, it's just kind of like a pointless conversation. It's just like, okay, we know Savannah or Shannon is locked in step with Savannah. She's telling her everything like she's the runner of this camp. So I don't really know why that made the episode, unless that's what they're trying to tell us, or there maybe is some foreshadowing to Shannon's trying to tell Savannah things. Savannah calls the shots and blindside somebody. Maybe that's down the line somewhere. But there is some deception in Red where you can kind of see. But I think there's also some deception in Hina with MC not trusting the Matt, Christina, Jason click 3, and then Steven kind of having a better last 2 episodes than the first one. So I don't know where they're going with this. It does seem like a red versus yellow thing is coming, but those 2 votes on blue are pretty important. Like those guys can just slide right to the. I'm thinking about like Survivor Season 45, where it was Carolyn, Jam Jam, and I forget the other kid's name, but they were like the last 3 remaining on their decimated tribe, and they made the final 3 or the final 4, whatever it was. They made it deep in the game. Like you can't let these guys slide under the radar as you take away shots as you're firing shots at the other team. So I don't know. It was a filler episode, if we're being honest.
So right now, heading into some sort of merge, I assume they'll do 2 big tribes here, and there will be some shuffling around. Heading into that, obviously, we don't know what those tribes will be yet, so this is a tough question. But give me 2 names that you think right now are in a great position, even barring the inevitable switch. Doesn't really matter where they end up. You think they'll be in a good position regardless.
I think Sophie's in a really good position right now. I think she survives that last night. She actually flushes Alex's idol, which I don't know if she was intending to do that. I think she wanted to flush the idol because she wanted to find it.
No, she was. I felt like she was because I think in her mind, she knew she really couldn't get him out because, again, and this is what was so confusing about that tribal, which we haven't even talked about, and we're not really going to because it's boring regardless. But Jeremiah suggested that Alex told him that it would be embarrassing to go home with his idol in his pocket, but in the same vein said he didn't think he'd play it. Which made no sense to me. Do you hear what you just said? Like, clearly, this is a milestone for Alex. If he's able to escape this, he understands. He's a fan of the show. He knows that things will shake up now and he'll be in a better position regardless. So why wouldn't he use it now just to further himself in the game? Why take that risk? It made no sense. But regardless, I agree. I think Sophie in particular, at least right now, has empathy on her side. People feel bad for her. They saw how decimated her tribe was, how defeated she looked at the challenge. I agree. Who else did you have?
Someone's gonna take her under their wing. Real quick on Jeremiah. Yeah, Jeremiah was talking out of both sides of his mouth in that tribal council. He was like, yeah, he's bluffing, he's not gonna play it. So let's just throw both of our votes on him and see what happens. And then he was also like, yeah, I know he's a super fan. He won't go home with an idol in his pocket. So I was like, where's he going with this? So yeah, Jeremiah, not a very good player. So we kind of figured he would go home there. So I think that Sophie's in a good spot with the tribe swap. I think my second person would be Steven because I think that he's had much better last 2 episodes. I think the last 2 episodes he's been trending upwards as a player. Haven't seen as much paranoid. Maybe they're just not making the screen, but we have not seen as much, frantic nonsense. It looks like Steven's now starting to become a little bit more social. Obviously, he's talking more with MC. He's talking more with other people. So I think he was in that large 4 or no, he was not in that large 4. It was Jason, Matt, and Christina. So I'm mixing up people here. But again, we haven't seen much of Yellow. So I think because we haven't seen much of Yellow, maybe we haven't seen much of Steven. So maybe Steven's game will elevate here on the tribe swap. Of people, maybe he's just, again, Yellow is a weird tribe because there's a lot of age diversity there. We have Matt, who's a little bit older. Like I think the youngest person on the tribe is like MC, who's 29. So maybe he can get on a tribe with other people that are, maybe closer to, I don't know. I'm thinking the second person was hard, but I'm going to go Steven because I think that he'll be able to probably work with people that maybe he wouldn't work with on Yellow. That people, like, again, he was only with MC on Yellow, really. Like the only person he was really actively working with was MC. Maybe he'll start to find other people on other tribes. You see it happen all the time where you sometimes click with somebody else. Like maybe he'll click with Alex. Maybe him and Alex get together, or maybe him and Sophie. So I don't know. I'm thinking Steven is probably the other guy who can possibly have a better standing in the game and maybe not be in a minority alliance, especially when it's probably going to be 7-7, right? And there's 14 people left in the game, so they're probably going to go to 2 tribes of 7, which means you're not in a tribe of 6 anymore. So maybe he can find a lockstep 4 to pair in with.
For me, it's Nate, and I teased Rizzo perhaps, but I think it's Nate because, again, you mentioned some of the people in yellow tend to be on the older side. I think Nate's in a younger tribe. If he has some people slightly around his age, I think he'll garner that respect, and clearly has the respect of the people younger than him as well. Yeah. So if you couple those things together, I think he's in a really good spot. I don't know, like, his win equity right now, if that's trending in the right direction at all. But as far as, like, a long-term GOAT play, I think he's really high on my list right now to just stay around for a while. Real quick, 2 people in a bad position.
Oh, gosh. 2 people in a bad position right now?
I have a sneaky one. Really, really sneaky one.
Okay, go ahead. I want to hear yours.
Jason. And the reason is because I think right now, without Jake in the game, who's the most physical, imposing person in the game, Alex is close, but regardless, if you just actually watch the challenges, the most actual dominant person is Jason. It's not even a question. He can do every single element of Survivor. He's an insane physical competitor, especially like if you just looked at him, you wouldn't necessarily think that. Yeah. He's a fit guy, but he's not like jacked or anything. He's not shredded, right. But he is incredibly agile. He does super well in the physical challenges. He's obviously a god at these puzzles. So I think eventually everyone's going to look around and like, hey man, this guy is waxing us every single comp. So I think he's the first person I think of that they're inevitably going to turn on because he's looking way too good in these challenges. Like it jumps off the screen how dominant he is. The other person, he's in already a bad position, but I think it could only get worse for him, is Jawan. Because I think if he goes to a new tribe with enough of the red, I think they will start planting seeds about Jawan perhaps being like overly paranoid, being a bit too much, gaming too much. You see that sometimes with some of these tribe swaps in the middle of the season, the merges. Yep. And I think that's going to happen to Jawan. I don't think I think they like him as a person, but I don't think they like him as a game player for whatever reason. They just kind of had the vibes were off with him immediately. They all kind of detected that. They never really showed rationale for why. No, that's just kind of what's been going on.
That's actually a perfect shot. He's actually easily the worst person to set up in a tribe swap because here's the thing. So people on red don't trust him, right? Jawan also put a hit out on yellow in episode 2. Said, hey, yellow, I'm going to disadvantage your tribe. By the way, there's still one. So he's already not in good with yellow because yellow knows Jawan hates us. He just put out
and Mike, he won that comp, which again, people won't really look at that as much, but he still beat Jake in that, which was like a legit thing in Matt's whatever, but beating Jake in that, Jake, if they polled the tribes, Jake would have been a massive favorite heading into that competition.
Yeah, so now yellow knows that Jawan's a big threat. Matt obviously knows he lost to him, and then obviously we know Jawan put a hit out on yellow. So I don't think in a tribe swap he would not be good with people from yellow.
That's an easy one.
And there's only 2 people from blue, and like, okay, yeah, sure, he might be cool with Alex and Sophie if he gets on a tribe with them too, but that wouldn't be enough in a 7-person. You can only have 3 there, so that's not much. So I think Jawan is an easy one for sure. I don't know why I didn't think of that one. I think the other one for me might be Matt. Your guy, Matt. And here's why I would say Matt.
Took him really, really high, and I regret it right now, but we'll see.
I know.
We'll see.
The thing is, all I have to go off of right now is kind of his sloppy strategic game right now. Like, I admire
Do you think it was his wording, by the way? Because I think the rationale of trying to get MC in was good. I think it was all, and I think his approach was fine as well. I think it was just the way he said it. I don't think he meant it that way, but you're right. It was a little bit sloppy there.
Yeah, it was almost like, hey, we're looking for a 4th. You want to be our 4th. And you don't tell the person that they're 4th. That's the number one thing you don't do. If like you say, hey, who are you good with? I like these people. Who do you like? It's like you want to ingratiate them as if they're making the call as to be in the alliance, not, hey, I'm making you in this alliance. Come here and you're going to be our number 4. That's the way he did it to me. It felt like, or at least maybe that's the way they edited it. So that's all I have to go off of. If it's a tribe swap and he maybe tries to come at it like that, and maybe a little bit too aggressive, maybe they were like, hey, why don't we just flip Matt? He's trying to call the shots. You tend to see that happen sometimes right before the merge. It's like a guy tries to get a little bit too high or too big for his britches. He's like, I'm calling the shots here. I'm going to add the 4th person in our group. I'm going to add the 5th person in our group. I'm going to rally the troops. And then sometimes those person, actually that's the person who gets, kind of cut at their knees. So I don't know if that's going to happen. I just haven't seen enough from yellow. We haven't seen enough from yellow's camp in general. All I have to go off of from Matt is obviously he had a great first episode, But then the second episode, as you start to see him try to make some strategic moves, it was a little bit sloppy. MC kind of
to say the least,
yeah. MC kind of read right through it. I think that her and Steven are kind of laying low, whereas Matt and these other people are kind of like taking the reins. Obviously, Jason's the star of the show on the challenges for sure, so he'll be a big threat as far as challenges go. But I think from the strategic standpoint, maybe they try to cut Matt off first. I don't know. It's tough. We haven't seen enough from Yellow yet. We've only seen Blue, and I think Blues are just better off for it. So as far as worse off, it's got to be someone on Yellow or Red.
So yeah, and Red we haven't seen much of either. I know the producers clearly like Rizga, they clearly like Savannah, so we've seen some of them, but even like the dynamics beyond that, it's been super surface level. It's basically like, oh, Jawan wanted to play immediately, so we don't really like him, and Sage is super weird, so we don't really like her. Like that's it. That's literally all we know about Red.
By the way, Shannon, somebody else, I don't think maybe she would be as good in another tribe. I think that she works in this tribe, but I don't know.
I thought about it. The reason I didn't put her is because she's such like a girl's girl. She's such a, kind of adapt to who she's talking to. I think she does really well at that. So I think, again, she has good GOAT potential, if nothing else. So it could be a situation where she's easy to cut out. She has social influence.
Yeah, but like, how would she like conversate with like an MC or a Sophie on either Sophie, really? Like, how would she work with those people? Like, I don't know. I really don't. Savannah and Sage are like the perfect, like, quirky girls for her tribe, but like for the other girls in the other tribes, I'm not really sure how it would work. And then obviously, I don't know what her standing would be with like the other guys in the show. Like right now, the guys on the on Red, she doesn't really trust Jawan. Rizgod's quirky enough for her, and then Nate's an older guy. So like, how would these other guys work? I don't know.
Jeremiah's gone. I guess Steven's a little quirky. So is Jason. I guess that's fine.
I don't know.
It's really going to depend on where these people end up, which I am excited for because we've dumped on this season. It deserves to be dumped on. But if nothing else, at least next episode should be entertaining. If
the tribe swap tells us a bunch of things. The tribe swap tells us a lot. Yeah, for sure. That'll be interesting for sure.
So, yeah, we'll be back next week for that episode. I am looking forward to it, as I just mentioned. We'll also be doing a Western Conference preview. We went almost 2 hours in the East. We'll hope to not go over that for the West, but it is far more entertaining, especially with the bottom feeders. We'll at least be able to race through those a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of Tristan Vucevic's. That's why we went 2 hours long.
No one had that name being uttered in that podcast, but I think we did a good job. But I'm excited for the West, and then we'll do awards picks. We're going to get football back as well. I think outside of Survivor and the reality side for our fans there's not much until Traders. So it's just going to be this every week. We both said there's no way we go over 30. Obviously, we did because, there's still stuff to talk about. So we are at least enjoying talking about this season more than watching it. So
we did a 42-minute episode on a filler episode of Survivor. This is a filler episode for Survivor outside of the medevac, and we made 42 minutes out of it. So, I mean, heck.
That's the content that people want. That's the content we'll give. But, we'll be back soon. Again, probably next episode will be that Western Conference preview. If not, some football, because there's a lot going on in football. Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to that. We haven't even touched like college football yet.
Right.
The MLB postseason's been a little wild, but your Jays are hot right now. So
the Jays are flying. Yeah, the Jays are flying.
We can maybe get that in there. But yeah. Any final words on Survivor, Mike?
We better pick it up here soon because I'm getting tired of the appetizer. I need the full course meal, which is Survivor 50. I can't do Survivor 49 any longer. Let's start speeding up these episodes. Let's get to the merge. Let's get to some interesting stuff here, Jeff. I know Jeff told me it was a good finish to the end, good race to the finish. So let's go ahead and get to that here because this is a slow.
I don't know if I trust those Jeff little quips anymore.
I don't trust them either. I don't either.
Yeah, so we'll see. That's my analysis. I don't know if I trust Jeff, but I completely agree with you. This feels so weird with 50 on the horizon. It just feels like we're kind of sleepwalking to that destination. So we'll see. Yeah. I have high hopes for 50, but again, we talked about it. It's not like an all-star season. It's just who Jeff finds exemplified the game, but only in the way he currently thinks exemplifies the game. It's whatever. But
it's like Jeff's favorite cast, basically. It's like, these are all Jeff's guys, besides Boston Rob. But
But anyway, I'm excited to see how 49 shapes up, if nothing else, because look, we had a draft. I'm killing the draft right now, but I think you're going to start knocking out some of my people here. So we'll do an updated ticker in a few weeks. I'll give it 2 or 3 more episodes, and we'll do an updated ticker of how that draft's looking. Right now, my top picks in, your top picks in. That's really all that matters.
Yeah, by the way, I didn't know Jake would get bitten by a sea snake. That was on me.
It's not a bad take. Look, it's not a bad take. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, outside of his control, and then Jeremiah's on a tribe of 3. I thought, we didn't even know he was on the episode. the first episode, so he kind of almost he also undrafted. That my hope was that no one else in the Survivor's gameplay would even know he's in the show, so he would kind of slide maybe the top 5. And
I think that's just the current editing. That's just what happens.
Right,
There's times where you don't really realize half these people are in the show anymore.
That's what I'm saying. And unfortunately for him, he was on a tribe of 3 people. So unfortunately, people now knew he was on the tribe. So he got screwed because of that. Because oh yeah, Jeremiah's on the tribe too. So let's just vote him out. So only 3 people. So I don't know what you can do.
Anyway, make sure you guys like, follow, and subscribe. All that fun stuff. Comment on the video below. I'm X. That's Mike. We will see you guys soon.